This isn't a marriage. It's a transaction. Say it plainly.
Then sign it plainly, and we're finished. What is this really about, Amara?
You have no idea what your family already took from me.
The marriage contract sat between them like a loaded gun. Amara Whitfield stared at the line where she was supposed to sign her name away, and across the table, Jason Kang did not look at her once. To him, this wedding was not love, it was a weapon. His father had chosen her family's land, and Jason had chosen her only because destroying her was the fastest way to win. Amara signed anyway. She needed the money for her brother's tuition, and she needed the Kang name to stop circling her family like a vulture. She did not know that the man beside her carried a secret bigger than either of them understood, and she prayed silently that no one in this glass tower would ever ask her to roll up her sleeve. If you are watching this on your phone right now, tell me in the comments where in the world you are joining us from tonight. This story is going to break your heart before it heals it, so make sure you subscribe now, because the next 30 seconds change everything you think you know about this marriage. Stay close. You do not want to miss what she is hiding under that sleeve. The wedding was beautiful and cold. Cameras flashed. Reporters called her a gold digger who trapped the city's most eligible bachelor. Jason's mother smiled for the photos and whispered cruelty behind her fan. Amara wore long lace sleeves even in July, even under the hot lights, even when a photographer begged her to push them up for a better shot. She refused gently every single time. At the reception, a caterer lit the centerpiece candles too close to the drapery, and for one terrible second, smoke curled into the air. Amara's glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the marble floor. Her face went pale as paper. Jason caught her elbow before she could fall, and for the first time he actually looked at her, not as a pawn, not as a name on a contract, but as a woman who was somewhere else entirely, somewhere 10 years in the past. She pulled her arm back so fast her sleeve rode up just for a moment, just long enough for him to see the raised silver-white scarring that climbed from her wrist toward her shoulder. She yanked the fabric down before he could ask a single question. But Jason Kang did not forget what he saw, and somewhere in the back of his mind, a small, cold voice reminded him that the land his father wanted so badly used to have a restaurant on it, one that burned to the ground exactly 10 years ago. He told himself it was a coincidence. Empire City was full of old fires and old land deals. But that night he could not sleep, and he found himself standing in front of property records on his own laptop at 2 in the morning, searching for a name he was suddenly afraid to find. Weeks passed. Amara kept the marriage at arm's length, running her architecture firm by day and guarding her past by night. Jason kept finding reasons to be near her office, to ask about her family, to notice the way she flinched at the smell of a lit match. He told himself it was strategy. It was not strategy. It was the beginning of something he refused to name. One night, he found an old photograph in her desk drawer while searching for a signed document. A restaurant facade, warm lights, a hand-painted sign that read Whitfield's Kitchen. One corner of the photo scorched black. He asked her about it. She told him to stay out of things that were not his business. He told her that everything in this marriage was his business now. Their voices rose. Amara reminded him that he had never once asked how she felt, only what she was hiding, and that a man who only wanted answers was no different from a man who only wanted leverage. He accused her of hiding a secret lover, a hidden debt, anything easier to hear than the truth. She looked at him with 10 years of grief in her eyes and said one sentence that silenced the room completely. "You have no idea what your family already took from me." This is the part where I need you to lean in close, because in less than 60 seconds, one document is about to turn this entire marriage upside down. If you have not subscribed yet, now is the moment, because what Jason finds next will change how you see every powerful family in this city. Keep watching. Jason's assistant, Nora, had been quietly helping Amara for months, ever since Amara confided that she wanted answers about the fire that killed her mother. Nora pulled old fire department records and insurance filings, and buried inside a Kang Group holding company from a decade ago was a claim filed on a property listed as Whitfield's Kitchen, paid out 3 weeks after the fire, signed by a name Jason knew better than his own: Richard Kang. Nora almost missed it. The filing had been buried under 3 shell company names, cross-referenced only once in a footnote nobody was ever meant to read twice. She printed it, hands trembling, and drove it to Jason's office herself instead of trusting it to email. Jason stood in his father's office holding the file, hands shaking. His father did not deny it right away. He simply said the land was always going to be his, one way or another, and that a small restaurant fire a decade ago was simply good timing for the family business. Jason felt something break inside his chest, the same kind of break Amara must have felt the night she lost her mother. For the first time, he understood exactly whose wife he had really married, and exactly what his family had really done to her. He went to her that night, not as a husband collecting information, but as a man finally ready to listen. Amara told him everything. She told him about carrying her little brother through smoke that she could not see her own hands. She told him about going back for her mother and being pulled out by a firefighter seconds before the roof came down. She told him about 10 years of physical therapy, of long sleeves in every season, of building a career out of the ashes of everything she lost. Jason did not interrupt once. When she finished, he took her scarred hand in both of his and told her that from this moment forward, he would spend whatever it cost to give her the truth and justice she deserved. He apologized, not with a single quick sentence, but slowly, for every cold morning he had treated her like a transaction instead of a person, for every time he had chosen silence over her comfort. Amara did not forgive him instantly, and she told him so. Trust, she said, would have to be rebuilt one honest day at a time, and he agreed, because for the first time he understood that she deserved a husband who would earn his place beside her. Richard Kang did not go quietly. He threatened to strip Jason of his position on the board, to bury the insurance file, to ruin Amara's firm with false lawsuits if his son kept digging. He ordered Jason to file for a quiet divorce before the press could connect the dots. Jason refused. For the first time in his life, he chose a person over his father's empire. We are seconds away from the twist that changes absolutely everything about this story, so stay with me. If this story has already made your chest tighten, drop a comment telling me which character you trust the least right now, because trust is about to become very, very dangerous. Do not look away. Nora found one more file, buried under a shell company name, a recorded call from 10 years ago between Richard Kang and a contractor. In it, Richard did not simply profit from a fire that happened to help him, he ordered it. The Whitfield restaurant was about to expose a zoning fraud that would have cost the Kang family everything, so Richard paid to have it silenced, and a mother died because of it. Amara had not just married into the family that profited from her tragedy, she had married into the family that caused it. Jason confronted his father in front of the entire board at the quarterly shareholders meeting, the recording playing through the speakers for every investor, every reporter, and every camera in the room to hear. Richard's face drained of color as security approached him at his own son's request. The empire he built on silence collapsed in under 4 minutes, and Jason stood beside Amara the entire time, his hand steady in hers, refusing to let go even once. Outside the boardroom, reporters who once mocked Amara's marriage now shouted questions about her courage, and for the first time in 10 years, the story being told about the Whitfield family was true. Her younger brother, watching from the front row, finally saw her sister exhale the breath she had been holding since she was a child pulled from smoke in her arms. In the weeks that followed, Richard faced formal charges, the company was restructured under new independent leadership, and the Whitfield name was finally cleared in every headline that once called Amara a gold digger. But the real victory happened quietly, away from the cameras, in a small garden behind the Kang estate, where Jason asked Amara to marry him again, for real this time, with nothing between them but the truth. She said yes, and for the first time in 10 years, on their true wedding day, under warm afternoon light, Amara wore short sleeves. She let the scar show, not as a wound to hide, but as proof exactly how much she had survived, and exactly how strong she had become. Her younger brother walked her down the aisle this time, and when Jason lifted her hand,